Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, and honoured guests. It's paradise to be here. And it's been a long journey. So, Toastmasters, real results for real people. When I began with my journey with Toastmasters in 1994, I was an obstetric nurse. I worked 3 12-hour night shifts every week, and I had 2 small children under 5. I also had a thyroid condition that I didn't know that I had, the low thyroid, not the hyper one. That wasn't diagnosed at the time, so it really was not the time to be finding myself. But I was at a crossroads in my life, and I knew something had to change. How was I going to do it? So I started reading all kinds of self-help books, and in many of them, Toastmasters was recommended as being a wonderful resource as a way to find the confidence and skills that I would need to find a career in life, because I just did not know what I was looking for. So I joined in 1994, and to say I was a shrinking violet is a gross exaggeration. I couldn't put 2 words together, and my world was just ladies having babies and the aftermath of that and my own situation and just crawling through these 12-hour night shifts. So over the course of just following the program step by step, I started a cosmetic business. It was a European cosmetic and called Oriflamme. And in that, I learned everything about business that I know to this day. And I had to use all the skills of making presentations, having people looking at me, and I'm going like this. I was the authority, and I had to learn how to be that. So from that, I joined a women's networking group. And through the women's networking group, I met a lady who she appeared on a program here is where all my acting began, at Fairfax Channel 10. She told me about a magazine program for women called Eye on Beauty, and they were looking for hosts and presenters. And so I came for my first audition. That was the best acting I ever did in my whole life, because these people were actors and I wasn't really anybody. I was just somebody that very much wanted to be something, the little engine that wanted to, didn't know how to, but I was going to find out. So I came here for my first audition, and my task was to interview a gentleman about his health club. And it was a very unusual audition. I didn't know that at the time, but there was an audience, and I said my little piece to the gentleman, and then when I'd finished, I stood up. The audience applauded. Some bell went off, or something went off in my mind, and I thought, this is it. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And here are actors who are going to tell me how I'm going to do it. So luckily, I was taken on as one of the presenters on that Eye on Beauty show here in this very building. And I came, and it lasted a year or maybe more. And in that time, I networked with the other actors. And I said, well, you're an actor. How do you get to be that? What do you have to do? And they said, well, you have to have a headshot and you have to get a resume. Well, how do you get a resume when you have nothing? But I worked it out, take lessons and so forth. And I took voice lessons because I thought the only thing I've got going for me, I was ancient even then, was to capitalize on my accent for whatever use that would be. I took voice lessons. And they also gave me one very valuable piece of information about the Actors Centre. And the Actors Centre is an organization for the beginner to the expert. And it had a hotline that you called every week, and I called on this hotline. And they were looking, at one point, Library of Congress was looking for audiobook narrators for the blind and physically challenged. Luckily, I smartly had chosen voice, so my voice teacher helped me get my demo together. And I submitted that. A few months went by, they called and said, Anne, we loved your audition, come down and record it in our studios. Went down, recorded the audition, no problems. Months went by, didn't hear anything. I think that was in July of 1996. And in February of 95, 96, they called me, we have a book, are you still interested? Was I ever? So I went down in a snowstorm, and the very first book that they gave me to record, it was a simple fiction thing, but it had like 7 different women on a page, and I just did not have the skills. And they said, well, we think you're great. You came here in a snowstorm. You're awfully nice and pleasant. You're always on time. And we'll give you a non-fiction book. So cut to the chase. I went, and I tell you that because I went from that ignominy to I am now teamed for all time after I'm dead with Ernest Hemingway. That's me many years ago. Who's this? The Churchills. That's me. I've narrated all these audiobooks. Little B, anybody that's been in a book club in America knows about this book. I got 3 awards with this one book. A Nigerian teenager, me. And this book is a non-fiction book. It was the basis of a BBC TV series. Anyway, the main thing, I couldn't have done any of this without Toastmasters. And I have all these resumes. I have 3 of them, a general acting one, an audiobook one, and a voiceover. Each one of these, particularly on the general acting one, where I've been leads in films, industrial films, voiceovers, commercials, you name it. But each one of these represents a job interview where you had to go and the competition was fierce. And I am not the most confident of people. Fake it till you make it. But I went, and I think my resumes would say I have had great success, and it's not over yet. But I couldn't have done any of this without Toastmasters. So that is why I say to you, Toastmasters really is impactful. It has meaning. Follow the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go on, keep going. It goes on to this day. Recently I was contacted by the Audio Publishers of America, and they said, we're having the Virginia Festival of the Book in Charlotte in March of next year. Would you consider being on our narrator and author panel? I said, absolutely, sign me up. It all sounds like blowing a whole lot of hot air, blah, blah, blah. Follow your dreams, Toastmasters. This is the venue in which you can make them real. This is real. Toastmasters, real results for real people. Thank you.